Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome to another edition of What's in the Bag, Jay? Now, this is the segment where I pick 6 movies from my collection that I haven't seen, write their names on a piece of paper, throw them in the bag, draw 2 out at random since we're still under quarantine, and do 2 reviews. Now, returning from last week is Tales from the Hood 2, Plague, Hell Girl, He Never Died, and making his debut this week, special thank you to Hobbs, The Curse of Lilith Ratchet, and Gnome Alone 2, starring Verne Troyer. Been really wanting to see that. So let's give our bag a good tussle. Let's see what we watched this week. First choice is Tales from the Hood 2. Very cool. And choice number 2 is, I can get it open. Okay, this shouldn't be this hard here. Gnome Alone. Very nice. Alright, now I'm going to set those aside while I set the rest of the movies side by side and take my trusty Freddy vs. Jason die. And remember, if I roll a Freddy vs. Jason or a 5, I have to re-roll. A 5, I have to re-roll. Freddy vs. Jason. What are the odds? A 4. So they all come back. Don't be shy to vote for the one you want me to review. Who knows? Maybe it'll get picked. Right now, I'm going to go watch Tales from the Hood 2 and Gnome Alone and come back with reviews for both later. Well, I'm back. I just watched Gnome Alone, and here are my thoughts. Gnome Alone is a 2015 film which runs approximately 94 minutes and is also known as Gnome and Legend. Now, this is directed by Timothy Woodward Jr. He directed The Final Wish, which I actually just watched a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. The Outsider and Silencer. Now, this stars Verne Troyer as the Gnome. Unfortunately, Verne Troyer passed away on April 21st, 2018, at the age of 49. Now, he was in College, The Love Guru, and of course, the Austin Powers films, where he played Mini-Me. This also stars Carrie Knupp as Zooey. She was in Solved, Home, and Voodoo Possession. And Bill Oberst Jr. as Mr. Gippon. He was in Death Camp, Hell's Kitty, which is a really good Wild Eye movie, definitely a recommendation, and also Death House. Now, the special effects that Verne Troyer had to wear every day took about 2.5 hours to put on every day that he played the part. Okay, this one actually has a pretty interesting premise. In the beginning, it's told by animation, and I thought it was different anyway. You have a leprechaun who falls in love with a witch. Now, after she tries to kill him, she also breaks his heart. And he offers gold pieces to whoever can capture her and basically torture her to show her the error of her ways. Well, she's a witch, so she can do things too. She reaches into her bag of tricks and pulls out a gnome, a killer gnome, which is supposed to basically protect her. Now, since she was branded by the leprechaun, this symbol is passed from the witch to whoever I guess she deems worthy. And that brand is what the leprechaun uses in order to protect her. If he sees that someone has the brand on him, then that's who he's supposed to protect. Now, I guess unfortunately for the person who has the brand, he does protect her, but in some very, very devious ways. That's basically the plot in a nutshell. While this had some really interesting kills, quite a bit of gore, and I thought Verne Troyer really knocked it out of the park, especially for his one-liners. To me, I don't know, it just got old after a while. Now, because Verne Troyer is very small, he was very limited as to what he could do physically. So I think they kind of had to be creative, and I don't think they really got creative enough with him on the kills. Now, granted, the kills were great, but I just couldn't help thinking to myself, there's no way he could do that. But of course, suspending disbelief is one of the things that you have to do if you're a horror fan. So, okay. There's a lot of overacting in this film and a lot of bad acting in this film. Most of that I can just pretty much whisk away. Bill Oberst Jr. was very hard to take in this film. It seemed like he was trying really, really hard to steal all the scenes he was in, and it just came off as being kind of pompous, in my opinion. The movie overall was okay. It's basically the discount Leprechaun movie. So you take all the movies of Leprechaun and how you felt about them, if they were a 7 or an 8 or a 6, and this one comes in at maybe a 4.5 or 5. That's about as good as I can describe it. What really would have been neat, in my opinion, of course we'll never get this now, I don't think, but if Verne Troyer, of course, had lived, we could have gotten him and Warwick Davis, or the guy that plays Leprechaun now, as a Gnome versus Leprechaun film, and it would have fit into the plot perfectly, in my opinion, if they would have done a prequel as well, with the whole storyline. But like I said, we'll never get that now. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for it. I don't know. I think my wife liked it more than I did. I don't know. But I will be back soon with our second review. Okay, I'm back with review number 2. And it is Tales from the Hood 2. Now, Tales from the Hood 2 is a 2018 film, which runs approximately 111 minutes, and is written and directed by Rusty Cundiff and Darren Scott. Now, Rusty Cundiff was responsible for Tales from the Hood 1, and I looked on IMDb, and apparently we are getting a third one, and he's going to be directing that as well. Darren Scott is responsible for Dark House. He's going to be involved in Tales from the Hood 3 and Deep Blue Sea 2, which I know I've seen, I just can't remember it. Now this stars Keith David as Portafoy Sims. He was in They Live, The Thing, and he did the voice for Spawn, the animated series, which is absolutely awesome. Definitely a favorite of mine. This also stars Brian Batt as John Lloyd. He was in Ambition and Zipper. And Lou Beatty Jr. as Floyd. He was in Comet, Me Again, and Dark Canvas. Now, a couple interesting things about the film. The slave doll that was in Tales from the Hood number 1 can be seen in the first story of this film. And I'm not going to tell you where it can be seen because you see it several times. But I thought that was a nice throwback. And as the movie progresses, Mr. Sims' clothing changes from black to red. And I'm not going to tell you why. But since you've seen the first one, you should pretty much be able to guess. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the names of the stories, and kind of what I rated them. I'm not going to tell you anything about the stories because they are short and I don't want to give away anything. The first story is called Good Golly, and I gave that a 7. I liked it, it was fun, but it was a little corny for my taste. The second story is called The Medium. That I had a lot of fun with. I gave that one an 8. Story number 3 is Date Night. I am not a big vampire fan, so I gave that one a 6, and it's been done so many times before. It was short, but it was pretty much to the point. And the last story is called The Sacrifice, which was clearly my favorite. It definitely makes you think, and it was done extremely well. I gave that one a 9. And we have our wraparound, which is where Keith David comes in, called Robo Hell. And I gave that an 8. It was a lot of fun. Now, what did I think about this movie? Overall, I actually really liked it. I gave the entire thing an 8. So, 8 out of 10, it's pretty darn good. My problem with it, and I have heard a lot of things about this movie, not all of them good. As a matter of fact, most of the reviews that I saw on this when it first came out kind of painted it as being a really crappy movie, to be honest. I am a huge fan of the original Tales from the Hood. I think it's a great movie. I think it tells a great story. And with movies with messages in them, it can be very tricky. In the first movie, I thought they handled it extremely well. A lot of it was done tongue-in-cheek, but it did make you think. Now, this movie, they took that route and they went, in my opinion, a little too far. While I like the stories, and overall I did really enjoy this anthology, the themes of racism, which were handled so well in the first one, all the themes in the first one were handled really well. It seems like they pushed in this movie, like they were trying to cram it down your throat. I get it, but that's when messages are lost on me, to be honest. So, overall, I think it was a good effort. I am looking forward to the third one. To me, nothing will probably ever replace the first one. Just a huge fan of that movie, and it was done so well. And it was from the same director, so I saw glimpses of what he did so well in this one. But like I said, in some of the things he just went a little too far for my taste. But definitely watch it and judge for yourself. It's a definite recommendation. I think anyone who likes anthologies will dig this movie because overall it's a lot of fun. And don't forget to vote for the ones that didn't make it. Actually, I think they all did. But still vote. I always like to hear what you guys think of the movies that didn't make it, if you're actually interested in hearing about them. And if you like what you see and hear, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.